Welcome to Taste Level, where I rate games by how tasty they are. And by tasty, I just mean how fun they are. Today I'm tasting Tears of the Kingdom, which is the long-awaited sequel to my favorite game of all time, Breath of the Wild. Can Tears taste as good as Breath? How tasty is the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? At the start of the game, Ganondorf takes away everything Link loves, including his favorite arm. But thankfully, it gets replaced by a hot new furry arm, which gives Link and us a lot of new abilities to play with. The first and biggest of which is Ultrahand. Ultrahand is similar to the previous game's Magnesis ability, which lets you control metal objects, except now you can control all movable objects. You've basically got telekinesis. In addition to moving objects, you can also attach them to other objects, which provides endless building opportunities. But for some reason, the game mainly wants you to build support structures for signs. How many times do I have to do this shit?
That was brilliant! I never would have thought of it!
The next ability you get is Fuse, which lets you fuse basically anything you want to your weapons and shields. You can be smart and attach some cool stuff to your stuff, like this ancient material to your arrow, which sends enemies off to another dimension. Or you can be dumb like me and attach bananas to your sword and shield to give your enemies a tasty demise. The third ability, Ascend, is the most low-key but still fun. This ability makes you feel like a little mermaid while you swim through solid material above you. It's mostly used in traversal while exploring, but it also has its uses in combat, like penetrating this talus. The final of the main abilities is Recall, which lets you send objects back in time. So while Breath of the Wild's Stasis ability lets you Tears lets you go a little. This is a very useful ability for me because it lets me undo all of my mistakes, of which there are a lot. But I also use it to make enemies feel like they've made mistakes. All in all, I love these new abilities and their many uses, and I think they're a big upgrade to the abilities that Link had in Breath of the Wild. The core combat mechanics from the previous game have not changed much, and that's not a bad thing. I enjoy the simplicities of guarding, dodging, striking, and shooting, and what you can add to that core with your different abilities, like fusing a flame emitter to your shield to have a barbecue while guarding, or like jumping on one of your springs to get bullet time with your arrows mid-air, though that particular ability is quite overpowered. Just a few more hits! Ah, what's it doing up there? One of the most controversial parts of Breath of the Wild was its weapon durability system, because of how weapons broke all of the time. They decided to keep the system in this game as well, but make weapons last longer because of the materials that you attach to them. It was probably a good decision to increase the durability that way, but I actually like when my weapons break, because it forces me to use everything in my arsenal. So in Breath, I used every weapon type because I had to, but now in Tears, I could just hoard my favorite weapon types, and mostly ignore the other weapons the game had to offer. You could argue that I can just convince myself to use the other weapons, but that's just not as fun as being forced against my will. No, my Master Sword! At least I have this branch. No! Branch! No! Which branch to choose? This one! Now for a literally tasty part of the game. Cooking! The cooking in this game is the same as in the previous game. You slam a bunch of ingredients in the cooking pot, dance a little to the cooking melody, and then just see what comes out. This mechanic was pretty fun to begin with, but eventually I got tired of how long it takes to do, because you have to cook each meal individually. I get hit a lot while fighting, so I need to cook a lot of meals. I think it would be better if the game let you cook many meals simultaneously, and maybe even limit the amount of meals you could eat at a time, because as it stands, Link is like a vacuum in the way that he can suck up an infinite amount of food. And the fact that you can do this in the middle of combat makes combat less hard and therefore less fun. Get back! Ah! Hold on.
I want to dine on meaty rice balls. And for dessert, some simmered fruit.
Ah! I'm frozen! Ah!
Give me Soul Grilled Gourmet meat.
Ah! Die! Ah!
And finally, an omelette.
Eventually, you run into these giant gacha machines. And then you start to get worried that Nintendo added microtransactions. But thankfully, these gacha machines are completely free and provide you with possibly the best part of the entire game, Zonai Devices, which you can use to build anything you want. You can, for example, combine wings to build a bigger wing that soars through the sky bigly. Or combine a bunch of wheels to create a giant wheel snake that decimates your enemies. And yourself. With cannons you can make an explosive shooty ball that decimates you and your enemies even further. And if you're a bit more creative, you can probably create something a lot cooler than a bunch of devices stuck together. Introducing the Hydra Tank. Ow! Uh-oh. Ah! It's so strong! I'll try again. No! It's too powerful! Come back! No! What have I made? Ah! Horses, horses, horses. What can I say about these dumb creatures? They were your main mode of transportation in Breath of the Wild, but just like humanity moved on to cars in the real world, so did I in this game. Now that I can make my own vehicles whenever I want, horses just feel like a remnant of a bygone era. Gone are the days where I bump into every obstacle in my riding path, and welcome are the days where my wheels can just drive over everything. The only reason I sometimes still dabble with the horse mechanic in this game is because I can customize their appearance and give them dumb names like Zelda. I gotta help this Mario guy. It's me, Mastro. Alright horse, show 'em what you got. Faster please. Move. Oh, the wheels are off. Let's go. What? Look what you did. Ah, we're falling. No. Who needs a horse anyway? Cars are much better. I was pretty indifferent to the story in Breath of the Wild. It just felt like another damsel in distress story where Link had to save Zelda from Ganon. Now, the story in this game, Zelda is still in a Ganon-shaped pickle, but it's done in a much different way, where Link is actually cooperating with her through time. I know that sounds weird, and I won't say much more to avoid spoiling, but I can show you this short cutscene that should explain a bit. Cutscenes like the one you're about to see are spread across the world in the form of tears on the ground. Finding them, watching the cutscenes, and piecing together the narrative yourself is a fun way to engage with the story. Now, without further ado, have a look. The handsome face you just saw belongs to Ganondorf, the Zelda series and this game's main antagonist. Now, I don't know much about him, but what I could gather is that he's an evil dude who is evil for the sake of being evil, without anything that makes him an interesting character. But that's fine, because he's just so cool! Look at him! Oh, look at him now! Ah, look at him here! Anyway, I like the fact that he's not just a boss at the end of the game, but that he's also a constant presence while playing, in both the cutscenes and in the world itself. You see, there are these nasty enemies called Lumberjacks that will touch you relentlessly until you die. But if you manage to defeat them, Phantom Ganon will spawn from them and also touch you until you die. So if you run into these guys, you know that you're about to be in a Ganon-shaped pickle. Where am I? Oh! Pants! Go away! You know what? I'm out. I'm out of here. I cannot handle this. The part of Breath of the Wild which made it my favorite game of all time was its innovative world exploration. And I'm happy to see that it's still here in Tears of the Kingdom. How you can make your own path and go wherever you want while filling out the map. That there are no objectives already on the map, but that you have to discover them as you go along. And that the world is filled with secrets and things to do, making it not feel empty like so many other open world games. Though something I feared going into this game was that it would feel too similar to the previous game's world, since they both use the same world map. Thankfully, in this new game, the world is like an ogre. Because it has layers! And the first new layer consists of the Sky Islands. The Sky Islands are where you encounter ruins and constructs from the ancient Zonai race. The Zonai were not prevalent in the previous game, so having an entire layer of the map dedicated to them here is a welcome surprise. However, the Sky Islands do end up feeling a bit repetitive after a while, because they often follow a specific pattern. For every cluster of Sky Islands, you usually get a gacha machine, a crystal fetch quest, a construct boss arena, and so on. And this is unlike the rest of the world map, where you usually never know exactly what you're gonna get. While that is a bit disappointing, I'm still having fun up there.
Ahoy, ye mateys! I am a true sky pirate. Shiver me timbers, a landlubber. Walk the plank. Fire in the hole. Yo ho! A booty! What's in me booty? Where does it lead?
The depths? Hell no, I'm not going there. There's a reason I have filled out both the main layer of the map and the sky layer, and barely anything of the depths layer. It's cause it's dark, it's dreary, and it's full of nasty things that don't like me. I usually only go down there to complete an objective, and then I get out as soon as I can. I don't think the depths is a bad addition to the world though, it's just not my vibe. Now excuse me, princess, while I go have a good time where the sun actually shines. This is the hot spring episode. Where's the ladies at? Hello, handsome. Just like in Breath of the Wild, shrines are spread across the world, acting like mini dungeons, each with a different puzzle that explores a game mechanic. Completing them gives you some yellow gunk that you can trade in for more hearts or more stamina. I loved the shrines in the previous game, and I have to say that I enjoy the ones in this second game even more. One reason is that your new abilities let you solve each puzzle in many different ways. Like one time I wanted to use Ultrahand to build a vehicle to drive me over lava, but then I failed, so I used Ultrahand to make that vehicle a bridge instead. And then I failed. But then I succeeded. The shrines also seem more fun and creative than ever before. I especially felt this when I got to play baseball, or Jenga, or golf. Golf! Additionally, the puzzles often teach you something about the game's mechanics that you can apply even outside the shrines. Like when a shrine taught me about homing carts that chase enemies and attack them for me. After this, the homing carts became great homies of mine.
This time I'll bury you. Ho 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 ho!
Oh, you think so?
Hydro homie, flame homie, frost homie, cannon homie, laser homie, lightning homie.
Cannon homie, no! They're too powerful! Ow! Koroks are back, baby! And in this game, you can finally hurt them! Which I of course do not condone. Anyway, in the previous game, these little guys were spread across the world, hidden behind environmental puzzles. And if you solved them, the Koroks would give you little stinky beans that you could give to a bigger Korok, so that he could give you an even stinkier, bigger bean. In addition to expanding your inventory, of course. And this whole mechanic has been brought back for this game, with the addition of a new type of Korok puzzle, helping Koroks get back to their little Korok friends. And as long as you help them with that, I doubt they care how much you mess with them along the way, right? I think you can tell that I very much appreciate this part of the game. You're now my axe. Chop this tree. Chop this slime. How about this tree? Almost. Just try a little harder. Come on. Wait, why are you leaving? Alright, how about this? Try again. You did it! Woo! Good job! Side quests? Pfft, who bothers with those? I didn't. In Breath of the Wild, that is. But in Tears of the Kingdom, on the other hand, I have found the side quests to be a lot more fun. Like when I met a gang of men in underpants who dared me to strip down to underpants as well, and expose myself to a bunch of monsters in a cave. Or when I got dared by a chicken to speedrun to the top of a horse's head. That particular quest made me feel pretty awesome when I landed on the head with just a centisecond to spare. And it's something I wouldn't have experienced if I had ignored the side quest like the previous game made me do. I gotta break this guy out of prison. But how do I get in? When did Zelda become a party-based RPG? This game, apparently. The powers you got in Breath of the Wild after finishing a main dungeon were powers tied to your character that you could activate at the simple press of a button. But now, the powers you get are tied to other characters that follow you around. You have to manually go up to them and press A when you want to use their power, which feels very clunky, especially since they have a mind of their own. Sure, they fight enemies for you, but they also walk away from you when you need their powers, or walk in front of you when you don't want their powers. Now, don't get me wrong, the powers are awesome! I enjoy bowling with Yunobo and shooting lightning with Riju as much as the next guy, but I just wish I had more control of those powers. And sure, I can just disable each character in the menu instead of complaining so much. But doing that would just make me weaker in combat, because I end up with less help and less cool powers. The novelty of having characters help you in combat is cool, but it got a bit too clunky in this case.
Hey Link! Shoot me! Shoot me at that guy! Shoot me! Shoot me, Link!
Fine, I'll shoot you.
Whee! Link! How the hell? Hey Link, shoot! I'm back! Hey Link, shoot me again! Whee!
Jeez, I hope he's gone now.
Hey Link! Hey Link, can we mix it?
Finally gone. Oh hey Tulin. Now that I've tasted all the most important aspects of the game, I feel confident that I can determine its taste level.
Bring out the taste meter!
I give The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom the taste level of Divine! This is the absolute highest score the taste meter can reach. And the game reached that, even though I had a couple of issues here and there. Because a game doesn't have to be perfect to get a top score. Because no work of art can be perfect. A question I also want to answer is whether or not this game is tastier than Breath of the Wild. And my answer to that is yes, it objectively is. But does that mean it will be my new favorite game of all time? What's special about the first is that it was the first. Playing that game for the first time was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, so it will always hold a special place in my heart. Only time will tell if Tears' objective tastiness can trump Breath's subjective specialness. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? The Korok village! Hey friend! Friend? What happened? Was it something I did? Friend! This'll cheer you up. Just like before. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and maybe leave a positive comment.
If you didn't enjoy it, please give it a dislike and leave a negative comment.
If you want to see more videos like this, please check out my channel and maybe subscribe.
If you don't want to see more, maybe you can share the video with all your friends and family to show them just how bad the video is.
Anyway.